So my name is Ruben. I'm a singer-songwriter from New York, and I'm here backstage at the 9:30 Club.
Alright. So who is your dream collaboration?
Like to write with or to tour with?
Let's do both.
Both. Oh jeez. To tour with, probably Matt Nathanson. And to write with, somebody old. Somebody probably who doesn't like Cole Porter or something, somebody ridiculous like that. Just one of the classic Great American Songbook people. Anything, as long as Frank Sinatra could sing it, that would be ideal. But he's dead too.
Who would you most like to see do a reunion tour?
Oh jeez, we were just talking about that actually, because the other band played a concert with a bunch of these '90s bands that I used to love, like Tonic and Vertical Horizon. And that was like, those were like the bands that I grew up with, but apparently they're playing together already. Who would I like to see do a reunion tour? Oh, jeez. The Beach Boys already do. The Rolling Stones do. Everyone is reuniting for the money. Who isn't reunited right now? I can't even think of one.
So that's a hard question.
It is a hard question.
We can end it. You don't have to answer.
I'll think about it.
We'll come back to it.
Okay.
What is currently in heavy rotation on your iPod?
Oh, Jackson Browne, Paul Simon's solo career, mostly those things.
What was your first concert?
Oh man, Duncan Sheik, and the opening band was called Hoover Phonic at the TLA in Philadelphia. I actually met Duncan Sheik when I moved to New York, and I told him he was my first concert. He was psyched. And he was like 2 hours late, and it was awesome.
What's your favorite Duncan Sheik song?
Oh, jeez. Barely Breathing, it's a classic. It's like the standard answer, but it's such a good song.
So tell us a little bit about your album that you have out now.
So I just recently released two EPs actually, and they're called Thoughts I've Never Had Before, Part 1 and 2. The record I did before that was this really long 6-month process, and it was really expensive and really just emotionally draining, and so I wanted to go the exact opposite way. So I literally booked the studio for a day and recorded my whole album in one day, live, no editing, no nothing. And because I play most of my shows solo, and so I wanted to sort of represent that on the record. And so it's been really awesome to see people respond just to the songs themselves, because when it's just a dude and a guitar, you're just getting the songs and that's it. And I'm starting to work on another full length now, and that's been interesting, trying to figure out how to like blend all of those sounds together and figure out what I want to sound like for the next 2 or 3 years. What
were some of the inspirations behind the album? Like music you were listening to or themes?
It was a lot about, I realized that, when I was writing my first 2 records, it was a lot about me. It was like my life and graduating from college and growing up, and then I realized that on the last batch of songs it was about everybody else and just sort of being interested in other people's stories and trying to break away from just like, complaining about girls, and there are other things to talk about and other things to write about, so that was interesting. That was what was interesting to me at the time, was like figuring out what I wanted to say, and like how do you write something inspirational or motivating without being cheesy? How do you tell somebody else's story if you weren't there? Like those type of things.
What's one of your favorite songs to perform live, and why?
All of them. My favorite songs to perform live. Probably a song called We Can, because it's really positive, but people respond to it very strongly, and there have been a lot of like schools that have been using it for their theme song, and a lot of people know the words, and yeah, I don't know. It's just nice to like write something that makes people go, you make me want to do this thing that I've always wanted to do but was too worried to do, that's like, why else would I do this? It's like the best thing ever.
Do you have any advice for some young musicians who are thinking of making it a full-time career?
Yes. How much time do you have? Don't listen to people when they tell you that you're making a mistake. Don't listen to people when they tell you not to pursue music full time. Don't listen to people when they tell you what you should sound like. And practice and get as good as you can while you can, because at some point you're going to spend all your time just trying to make money.
When did you first know you wanted to be a musician?
My whole life. My dad is a musician. He's a band leader in Philadelphia, so he played weddings and bar mitzvahs and stuff. And so I used to grow up listening to watching his band rehearse, and they were awesome. And then I took piano lessons, and I hated the piano, and then I picked up an acoustic guitar when I was 16, and my whole life made sense. What's been
the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on tour?
The craziest thing that's ever happened to me on tour? I mean, everything. I've run out of gas in the middle of nowhere. I've lost luggage. One time I played a college gig in upstate New York, and I left my computer bag with my computer, an envelope full of cash, and a hard drive that had the only copy of my new album on it on the train. And by the time I realized that the train had left, and I was losing my mind, and they had just reinstated a law that train conductors couldn't use phones because they had just had an incident like a month before where a conductor was on the phone and crashed the train. So they were like, "There's nothing we can do. We can't call the train conductor. You're screwed." And I was like flipping out, and some random dude was like, "Do you want me to call my friend who's on this train right now?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So he called his friend. His friend found my bag, gave it to the conductor, and they worked it out that when I was taking the train back the next day, they held it overnight somewhere. When I was taking the train back the next day, when I got on the train, they were waiting for me and handed me my bag with everything in it. I cashed in so many karma points that day. It was like the craziest thing. And it was like 2 days after I had lost my luggage on an airplane too. It was a really intense week.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But that was like one of the amazing things about this job, because you travel a lot and you rely so much on other people. You really I have a lot of faith in humanity. Like that random stranger who I couldn't pick out of a crowd right now, saves my whole life. And I just believe that people are mostly pretty good, because you have to believe that when you do this, because you can't do this job unless other people help you.